Hey guys, Ryan here. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the art of the drop shot. I'm going to explain why to do it, how to do it on a controller and mouse and keyboard, and I'm also going to be showing why it's so broken. Hope you guys enjoy this video, and if you do, you don't have to like, you don't have to subscribe, but if you do, it really helps out the channel. So while I know many of you do know what drop shotting is, just in case you don't, I'm going to show you right here. It's simply you lay down and shoot at the exact same time, and thus the name drop shot, because you're dropping to the ground while shooting. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like from your perspective. Now this is a teammate, but pay attention to how he essentially disappears beneath my gun. And this is why it's so broken. Because when you're shooting someone or you're facing someone who is drop shotting, or if you're drop shotting and they have an iron sight gun or even a regular red dot, you're going to essentially disappear and they're not going to be able to see you or reliably aim at you. Now, the hardest part isn't the actual mechanic itself, because it's pretty easy. You just lay down while shooting. The hardest part is finding a controller setup if you don't have paddles that's going to allow you to do this while aiming accurately. Now, if you don't have paddles on the back of your controller, you can use claw. And I do have a video on that, but that's a method where you use your pointer finger to press the buttons like circle and X to jump shot and drop shot or slide cancel. But that's hard for a lot of people. And the other solution I would go into is changing your settings to tactical. And this will make it so that your R3 will be your slide and your crouch and prone, and then circle or B will then become your melee. Now, this doesn't work for some people, but this is a much easier option than shelling out the money for a new paddle controller or playing claw. If you're on mouse and keyboard, one of the nice things about it is you have so many options to rebind your keys to. The only thing I'd really recommend is just keep in mind, you guys, you don't have to move or do really anything else aside from aim and shoot when you do drop shot. But this is why it's so effective. Unlike so many other movement types and advanced movements in the game that really help you, this is by far the easiest one to do. All you really have to do is avoid doing it behind cover, which I'll cover in a little bit, no pun intended there. But you also have to avoid doing it when people aren't looking at you. One of the biggest mistakes I see when people drop shot all the time is they'll even drop shot people when the people aren't looking at them. And that just causes them to miss shots, and it causes them to lose their centering and lose their ability to hit chest shots and headshots. And what they end up doing is shooting people in the legs, which ups their time to kill, instead of just sitting there without drop shotting. But the reason I bring up jump shotting and had it on my mind there is because this, guys, I think drop shotting is one of the best counters in the entire game to jump shotting. I love jump shotting. It's one of my favorite movement techniques. It's one of the ways I get out of so many gunfights. But I genuinely think that drop shotting is one of the best counters to it. Think about it. When you jump, it's naturally going to make you want to aim a little bit higher on most people. So if someone drop shots, you are suddenly going to be aiming a little too high. And while your movement can help you make them miss shots, it's also going to hurt you a little bit. Now, this isn't always true, because if you are aware the player you're fighting does drop shot, or you are ready for it, you can easily counter it, but it's so easy to be caught off guard by someone drop shotting. Now, though, combining the two, a jump shot into a drop shot, like you just saw from my friend Boof Brady there, is insanely powerful and one of the best movement combos in the entire game. The second thing is using a drop shot on someone in cover, like I'm pretending to be here, is insanely effective. Because while they're pre-aiming up by your head, you instantly drop shot and you're going to be able to see them in cover, you're going to see their head, and you're going to delete them. Now, on the flip side, if you're in cover, you can use drop shotting really effectively. But one of the ways I see people really mess up is using in cover. Just as you saw there, if I was shooting this person and I were to drop shot while in the house, I'm going to block my bullets and I'm going to cost me the gunfight. And I've seen tons of people do it because they have their drop shotting so built in as a habit and muscle memory that when they react to being shot, they just often drop shot. Now, that is a huge issue, and it's why I recommend being smart about the way you do drop shot. You want to make sure that you don't drop shot when you're behind cover that you can't see to the left or right of. One of the most effective ways to drop shot is to use cover. And if you know someone's pushing you to the right, let's say, for example, you snake up, you shoot them once or twice, and then as they push you on the right, you drop shot a little behind cover. And using the combo of the cover and you drop shotting, it's going to make it so hard for them to hit you, and you're going to be able to usually win that gunfight. One of the other best ways to use it is as a reactionary measure to save your life and gun people. Let's say you're just running out, you get caught out of nowhere. One of the most effective ways to stay alive is by simply just drop shotting, identifying where you got shot from as fast as possible, and just trying to kill them. Now, there is a counter attachment to drop shotting, and a lot of people are going to wonder what I mean by this, but I want you to look at the background. An red dot sight compared to an iron sight is such a big difference in killing someone that is drop shotting. If you have iron sights and you're facing someone who does drop shot, you are going to be at a massive disadvantage compared to someone who's running a red dot sight on their SMG. It sounds pretty crazy, but what happens when you have an iron sight, the player becomes hidden underneath the gun, and the red dot sight gives it more space for you to see the player without your gun causing the player to disappear. Now, this isn't necessarily a counter to drop shotting, but it is something that can make drop shotting a little less effective or more effective if you consider that almost no one runs a red dot sight on any SMGs. It is pretty much meta to only run iron sights on SMGs. And it is something to consider, maybe running a red dot on your SMG if you find yourself losing to people drop shotting all the time. One of the best ways you can counter drop shotting is by drop shotting yourself. And I know that sounds kind of redundant, but I mean it. When someone drop shots, you usually are looking up at the player. So when they suddenly drop shot back at you and their character model goes to being on the floor with you, their crosshairs are almost never in line with you. Oftentimes they're aiming way above where you're going to drop shot. And you're going to find that you're going to win tons of gunfights when you use the drop shot as a reactionary measure and tool to stay alive. It's kind of like a last ditch get out of jail card, and it doesn't always work, but it's super, super effective, and people, I think, really underestimate how good it can be. But I'm sure if you paid attention to your own games, so many people notice themselves getting destroyed by it. Even myself find that sometimes when I'm running around and I just get a little too cocky, I get caught up and someone drop shots me and I'm not prepared for it. I don't hit him with a drop shot of my own, or I don't aim down quick enough, and then boom, I'm dead. And it's just one of those movement techniques that can really cause people to miss just a couple bullets. And I know that doesn't sound like an insane amount, but because of the time to kill is so fast in Warzone, if you can get someone to miss 2 or 3 bullets, you've won the fight. You've completely changed the game for yourself, and you've made it so that you can constantly come out on top. That's why I do personally think drop shotting is so good and something I really recommend for almost anyone to implement into their game. The combo of good drum shotting and good drop shotting will make you almost untouchable out there, and it's going to win you so many more gunfights. It's going to get you so many more wins. It's going to get you so many more kills, and I would guarantee you will see your KD or whatever, your kills per game, your damage per game go up if you master the art of drop shotting. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, as I mentioned before, you don't have to like, you don't have to subscribe. But if you do, just know I really, really appreciate it. I really appreciate any support I get from anyone, whether it's a comment, a like, a view, whatever. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you have a good day. Thank you for supporting my channel. I hope you have a good one. It's been Ryan. Peace.